Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you all for joining us this afternoon for this webinar titled Everything You Need to Know About the EARN and Towards an HIV Cure Academies. We're very happy to have you all here with us today. We will start with the first round of introduction. My name is Riccardo Matalozzo, and I'm at the International AIDS Society. I'm the project manager working specifically on the Towards an HIV Cure, so the academies are one of the projects I oversee. And I'm joined today by my colleague Asli, and I would like to hand it over to her.
Thank you. So my name is Asli Hivcure. I'm also working for the IES and more specifically for the Global HIV Vaccine Enterprise. In the scope of these programs are also the Towards an HIV Vaccine Academies. And with that, I hand it back over to Riccardo, who will give you a short introduction, some housekeeping rules, and then we kick it off.
Thank you, Asli. So please, you may use the chat for to inform us if there are any issues related to the audio or quality of our sound. Also, please remain muted, and then we will. You're always welcome to use the Q&A function to ask any questions as they come along. Asli and I will be presenting the programs and the timelines. Once that is done, we will take plenty of time to answer all the questions you may have. You're welcome to include them there as time goes on. The reminder, the webinar will be conducted in English. However, you're welcome to type in your questions in French during as well. So with that, I would like to give you a quick introduction about the HIV Cure program and specifically the Towards the HIV Cure Academy. So the Towards an HIV Cure program was established in 2011, and the goal is to advance the HIV cure field in countries with limited resources for HIV cure research, as well as facilitating interactions among researchers and advocates and across disciplines. And it does so by promoting scientific exchange and collaboration, growing capacity building, and advocating for prioritization of HIV cure in their global health agenda. As the focus of this call, I would like to focus a lot of the attention on capacity building. And as the title of the webinar suggests, the HIV Cure Academies are a big part of our capacity building activities, alongside programs that come after them, which I'll go into more details later. So the two academies are the Advocacy for Cure and the Research for Cure Academies. On the slide here, you can see all the countries highlighted in red are countries where we have had participants from joining our academies. You see we've had people from all across Africa and all across the world. But you can also see that West Africa is a bit of a void, and that's why we are here to try to encourage all of you to join us and apply for upcoming events for this academy. So we've had 208 participants since 2017 when the first edition started. We've also, when out of these participants, 118 across the years also were able to receive scholarship to attend IAS organized conferences, and then 13 people were able to support for a grant. Most countries that we've had people from are South Africa, Uganda, Kenya, Zimbabwe, but also Cameroon. So let's go into more detail about the research, the Advocacy for Cure Academy. So the Advocacy for Cure Academy, as the name suggests, is for advocates and peer educators, and the goal is really to provide skills building and on current HIV cure strategies, with the goal to equip participants with the skills and the knowledge to disseminate what they've learned in a way that is easy for the lay audience to understand, not just because HIV cure research can be very complex, and we need people to really understand what it's all about. So because as research strategies go into human trials, it's important people understand how they're done. And the goal is also to provide an opportunity for them to foster networking opportunities. We have been fortunate to partner with AVAC in the US to organize a total of 6 editions so far. 4 were organized in person in Uganda, Botswana, South Africa, and Zambia, and 2 virtually, given ongoing COVID regulations at the time of the academy taking place. One thing I want to note about the academy is that every 2 years we provide a refresher one for previous participants, because as research and new knowledge is developed, it's important that people come back for a more in-depth training of what has happened in the HIV cure field. And we were fortunate to have the very first in-person one last December in Zambia in collaboration with the vaccine team, and that will be more on that later. So far, we have had 93 advocates trained from 19 nationalities, working in 19 countries across Africa, Latin America, and Asia Pacific. Now, I want to pause for a few seconds and think about what outcomes have come out of this. So participants come to the Academy, what are they getting out of them? So these are just a few highlights that I want to point out. For example, we've had people who have served in the International Scientific Working Group. They've played a key role in developing the 2021 IS Global Scientific Strategy. I'll touch briefly on that later. We have had fellows that have been part in IS organized conferences as co-chairs and speakers, and we've also had regional networks of fellows established. I want to show one of the people here is Josephine Nabukenya. She first was involved with the Academy in 2019 in Botswana. As a result, received one of the grant program, one of the first grants, and then has since 2020 been a member of the IS Governing Council, has been involved in several of our program committees for the HIV Cure conferences across the years. You can see her here with Sharon Lewin, the current president of the IS and one of the most prominent HIV Cure researchers out there. I also want to highlight a key phrase. I know it's a lot of text here, but I want to focus on the bolden part. So it was an informative and educational meeting, and there were and here is one that from last year was participated in the refresher training, and then the meeting, it was a small size and enabled participants to engage with colleagues and faculties and helps the development as advocates. So you see people they see the real benefits immediately after the academy has taken place. Now I want to switch gear and talk about the Research for Cure Academy. So the Research for Cure Academy was the first one that took place in 2017. And the goal here is to provide state-of-the-art, training of the state-of-the-art cure research, and then people to actually have an opportunity to develop their practical tools to pursue and engage in HIV cure research. And here as well, it's an important, the small group is there to foster the networking opportunities with participating faculty. And during the Research for Cure Academy, fellows actually have the opportunity to participate in a grant writing workshop where ahead of time, they prepare a concept note on HIV cure related topic of their interest. They present it on the first day, they get feedback from the faculty, they work on it, and then they represent it on the final day, and the progress has always been very, very striking. So this one, again, it's in partnership, this one with the Faculty of Health Sciences at Wits University in South Africa, as well as the South African Department of Science and Innovation. We have been able to have 6 editions. All of them have taken place at the Wits Rural Facility in South Africa, and 2 of them virtually, the same one for the ongoing COVID restrictions happening at the time. We have had 115 early to mid-career researchers and investigators who have taken part so far from 31 countries, working in 29 of them. A few examples of highlights as well on this one is, so 9 participants have actually been part of the International Scientific Working Group that I mentioned before. We've also had fellows that have been part of, that served as faculty member for the Advocacy Academy. As you can see, for example, a picture here of Masao Sapir from Zambia and Krista Dong from the United States and South Africa. We have also had fellows engaged on IIS organized conferences as co-chair speakers, including plenary speakers, as I've shown here with Natalia Laufer and Gabriela Tur from Argentina, both from 2018 and 2020 Refresher Academy, who have been involved as co-chairs and speakers in doing IS 2023, as well as AIDS 2022 in Montreal. But there have also been several mentorship connections established with also people are going on to receiving grants. I want to show you again a few examples of a few quotes from the previous years. Then the Research for Cure Academy has been a splendid experience to write an impactful research proposal, build self-confidence, encourage conversation with cure expert, and forge link with other participants. These are the keywords that you should focus on. And we've recently done a 6-month follow-up survey where we've seen people that have actually gone on to submit their grant as a proposal, to actually carry out the work that they've intended from the Academy, and then the partnership that continue to stay on. Then I wanted to give you, for example, this is some other example of the 6 months follow-up survey. And the people say I'm more conscious that I'm engaged in the project that I set up after Cure Academy. My team and I had an idea based on the presentation, and the proposal has been submitted for a grant. So you can see even the impact can be seen quite quickly. You don't have to wait long to see how much the training actually has an impact on your professional career, whether you are a researcher or an advocate. Now, I want to talk about additional opportunities that come from the Research and Advocacy Academy. We actually also offer a dedicated scholarship program for HIV for the alumni, where they actually have access to a conference session, the Cure pre-conference or forum that are organized every year, as well as a closed networking session with a Cure expert, as well as IS leadership. And I want to give you an example of a quote that one of the recipients said in 2021. I gained a lot of knowledge, that was more energized to advocate, and had access to the most research breakthroughs that we'll be using that would then be applied to their practice. As you can see from these examples, that once you have been selected for the Academy, like your engagement with the IIS does not necessarily have to end there. There are opportunities for continued engagement as well. And then the other thing I want to also point out is this is specific to the Advocacy for Cure Academy participants. They have also access to an Advocacy for Cure grant program, which the goal is really to give them the opportunity to apply what the advocacy skills they've learned during the Academy to implement a research project to raise awareness about Cure, or to advocate for additional funding, and the goal is to advocate for policy change involving HIV Cure. This is also done in partnership with AVAC, which we are fortunate to collaborate with. And then we've had 3 editions so far, with 13 projects supported in Argentina, Botswana, Cameroon, Kenya, Nigeria, Uganda, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. The next slide, I will show you a few examples of outcomes. This is you will see a picture of Anamiti from Zimbabwe. She was one of the alumni from the Advocacy Academy in 2019, who then received the grant. And this is one, she, for example, had a media cafe with local journalists to provide Cure research, also translated into local languages to make sure the languages it reaches the larger amount of people possible. And then on the other picture, you see the series of JoJo, which is Josephina Bukenya, who I mentioned earlier. She also was one of the grant recipients, and then during as part of her grant, she created an animated series to simplify Cure language using something called a series of JoJo. Other examples of success is the scaling up of viral load testing in Zambia through engagement with the Ministry of Health, increase in TV and printed media coverage in Kenya, so bringing the HIV Cure to the national discussion. Increased involvement of stakeholders, including traditional healers and key and vulnerable populations, including sex workers, and as mentioned, social media campaigns to disseminate Cure terminology, with Josephine is an example, but other fellows, other grantees have also been doing that. And then the last thing I want to see is the scientific I want to talk about the scientific gathering. We have 2 of them. One is the pre-conferences ahead of AIDS conferences, and the Cure Fora ahead of IS conference on HIV science. So they happen in alternative years. Some of them, and then translating. So the pre-conferences ahead of the AIDS conference, the goal is more of a community focus. The goal is really to translate strategies and advocate for prioritization of HIV Cure. Is more focused on peer educators and advocates, but also young clinicians and researchers, while the fora is more to foster collaboration between HIV Cure and other scientific disciplines to forge collaboration across the 2, and to have the HIV Cure field and other discipline assist each other and share knowledge. Examples that we've had in 2023 3 was the most recent one on focus on HIV cure and immunotherapy. We also had focus on HIV cure and gene therapy, HIV cure and hepatitis B, as well as HIV cure and cancer. This one is aimed at researchers, scientists, young clinicians, and also people outside the cure field. Last thing I want to mention is, as I mentioned, related to the promoting science, has to do with the global scientific strategies, which has had 3 editions in 2012, 2016, and 2021, and it incorporates the review of over 150 studies and input from stakeholders through online consultation and a survey, and the goal is to provide concrete recommendation for cure research priorities across the basic, translational, clinical and behavioral and social scientists. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because, as I mentioned earlier, previously, some of our alumni from the academies have actually played a very active role in making sure this is possible, showcasing another example of how the engagement can continue beyond just the academy. And with that, I just want to talk about quickly the plans for 2024. The Advocacy for Cure Academy is the first event that will take place this year. It will be it's taking place around in June at the location which is still to be determined in Africa. We will welcome a new cohort this year of approximately 15 participants. Stay tuned for a call for application that will be coming up in the next couple of weeks. We will also be having the HIV Cure pre-meeting in July, in the 21st in Munich, ahead of AIDS 2024, with the focus on globalizing the HIV Cure research agenda. And then we're also looking to have welcome a new cohort of participants in October or Q4 at the Witwatersrand facility in South Africa for this year's edition of the Research for Cure Academy. So with that, I would like to hand it over to Asli for the EARN work. And please keep your questions coming. We will be going through them at the end of the meeting. Thank you for all your attention.
Thank you, Ricardo. And also, in a bit, at the end of this presentation for the Q&A session, we will allow you to talk, so you will also be able to raise your questions in person. I would like to introduce the EARN program, which is part of the Global HIV Vaccine Enterprise, and EARN stands for Enterprise African Research Network. This program focuses completely on Africa. I guess I do not need to say why. If you look at the distribution of people living with HIV and compare it to the research output generated in Africa, we think there is a very clear need to promote you, the brilliant minds of tomorrow, to be heard. And our mission is accordingly to support you, to mobilize, advocate, and also coordinate action, but also funding towards an increased role in shaping the HIV vaccine and cure R&D agenda. Now, the EARN program kicked off. It's a comparatively young program, so we do not have all that much of a track history, but it kicked off the meeting in 2019, where early to mid-career African researchers identified 3 key areas where they perceived they needed more opportunities, which were knowledge and skills, leadership opportunities, international exposure, and national research funding. Accordingly, we have adapted the EARN activities to a mentorship scheme to academies. Similar or analogous to Ricardo and the Cure Academies, we have 2 kinds of academies. For scientists, these academies focus on training young scientists further, bringing them the newest knowledge, breakthroughs. But we also have the advocacy academies, where also we try to translate recent findings into language that can be understood and brought to communities. But this is pending funding. We are aiming at a research fellowship program. So the EARN HIV Vaccine Academy is designed for 15 early to mid-career African scientists, as I said. It is a face-to-face retreat type meeting. We provide training on state-of-the-art HIV vaccine R&D, and we teach a couple of practical tools that will help you in your future development. And so far, we had the HIV Vaccine Science Academy, the first edition, 15 to 18 March 2023, also at the Witwatersrand facility in South Africa, and we had 13 fellows from 7 African countries, which you can see listed at the bottom. And here you can see a fun little group picture, which should show you it's not only learning, it's also a lot of interaction and a bit of fun. We keep asking attendees what they gained by attending the academy and how they intend to use the knowledge. And we get quite nice responses that they have a better understanding of HIV science and new findings, and they intend to use the knowledge to contribute to HIV vaccine science. And also, it is young, as I said, so we do not have a track record of much, but I want to showcase Mildred Obari here. She was part of the first Science Academy. She was then further selected to attend the IS 2023 in Brisbane, participated in several IS changemaker activities, and as Ricardo already mentioned, the Science Academy itself, or the Academy itself, is not the end of your involvement with the IS. There are many more ways to interact and also to find a platform to be in exchange with other change makers. The Advocacy Academy is designed exactly as the Science Academies, the only difference being it is especially for advocates. And we had the first ever Advocacy Academy for HIV vaccine research from 9 to 12 December 2023 in Livingstone, Zambia. It was overlapping with the Cure Academy, which also offered a very nice opportunity for fellows between the two fields to exchange, to network, to collaborate, or to build relationships, especially as the fields of HIV vaccine research and cure are intertwined. There's a lot of similarities and yeah. I want to show you this. It was one of our Advocacy Academy participants, and it touched us a lot because he summarized basically exactly what
Hi, my name is Roderick Sambakunsi. I'm from Malawi. I work for an institute called Malawi Liverpool Outcome Program. I'm a science communication and public engagement specialist. Currently, I'm working on a vaccine engagement project where we're trying to promote dialogue on vaccines, making sure that people still trust vaccines because vaccines are going to remain our strongest weapons for so long.
Can you let us know why you applied to the Academy?
So this academy to me was very relevant to the work that I'm doing. We need to acquire more skills and knowledge, especially the time when we're interacting with scientists, for us to know more what is happening in the vaccine development, because that's the information that I need to take back to the community. We need to prepare communities before the actual vaccine comes, because COVID has taught us a lot of lessons whereby, misconceptions, misinformation, which would probably result into people, refusing to take vaccines. So this academy was really relevant for me so that that information can help me prepare the communities. Hi.
So this is just another picture from the Academy. We showed it on social media and wanted to showcase also Anamiti here, who is also part of the Cure advocacy team. Again, a nice example how these two fields are actually overlapping and how it is really important to be up to date in both areas. So looking ahead, we have currently a new round of mentorship program. The call for application is already closed and we are currently selecting fellows. As for the academies, which is more relevant for this webinar, the next academy is from 7 to 9 May. It will be in Rwanda. Also a reason why we have this webinar now, so that if you wanted to apply, you can have a bit more information on this. And we are planning another advocacy academy towards the end of the year. Just wanted to let you know, this is the call for application. I don't know if you have received the email. I'm happy to post a link later on in the chat. And we also wanted to give you a very short overview of how these academies work. So basically, we open the call for applications. It will be open for 3 to 4 weeks. So you have ample time to prepare your application. A little tip from our side is put some effort into your application. Do not answer the questions with 1 or 2 sentences. Really put some thought in it, because then in the next step, your application will be reviewed. And this happens by 2 independent reviewers. It takes about 2 weeks. So it's not the IAS deciding who is going to participate. And also your review is really only based on the answers you gave. The reviewers will not know who you are in whatsoever, so you really have to convince by your answers. After these 2 weeks, we will notify you of your status if you were selected or not. And if you were selected, we will ask you for confirmation of your participation. And once you have done so, we will start with the flights, with your flight booking in case there is a visa needed. You have time to apply for your visa. And then we have the academy, which is a 2 to 3 day workshop where we will learn a lot, laugh a lot, and just be together and network. And with that, I will stop sharing my screen now, and the floor is open for Q&A. I think, Ricardo, we already have some.
Yes. I also want to add one more piece of advice regarding the application. We know that many times we have, especially these days, like ChatGPT and AI is very useful, and not saying that we should be discouraged. And I mean, we also, I personally use it as well on occasion, but do not use exclusively AI to answer your questions, because we do check for AI, and applications that rely exclusively on AI are automatically not considered. So use AI smartly, but don't rely too much on it. With that, I would like to answer some of the questions that have come from the chat. Please feel free to have them come along as they come along. So the first question that I see is so, as Ashley said, the event usually takes place over a course of 2 to 3 days, with the next academies happening during the timeline that are there. One thing I want to point out is read the eligibility criteria carefully, because the application form usually includes eligibility criteria question, and if you don't meet them, you cannot proceed with an application. But at least personally for the Cure Academies, you need to show some involvement in the HIV field, not necessarily cure field, but at least show an interest in the cure field. As well, if you're for the advocacy one, also be involved with group or peer educators or community-related groups. We need to show that you have the potential to disseminate whatever knowledge you will learn at the academy onto your community. And yes, so that's also partly answered the question that we see from Jonathan regarding what should we do to participate in the academy, and how should we do for our country to host. So the decisions to host the academy depends on discussion with partners, and at least for the Research Academy, as I mentioned, they always take place at the WITS Rural Facility in South Africa, because we have a partnership with WITS University and South African Department of Science and Innovation. So that's why it takes place there. As you saw for the Advocacy Academy, instead, like we like to rotate where they happen. So we also like to do like a site visit. So we try to host them in locations where we can actually bring people to visit the center where cure research is taking place, or to have opportunity to network with people who are actually involved in HIV cure research. And that's how we tend to make decisions regarding where they take place. And in terms of having them in your you're welcome to, once you have gained the knowledge, to organize your own short trainings about HIV cure in your vaccine in your own settings.
Let me answer Jean-Marie if there is an HIV vaccine in Africa. So basically, we do not have an HIV vaccine yet. Our mission is to drive research, to drive investment into the research, because first of all, we do have promising results that might lead to a vaccine. And secondly, HIV vaccine research has been extremely beneficial in other fields as well. So a lot of the advances we had for the COVID vaccine, for example, were based on results and knowledge we gained from HIV vaccine research. I hope this answers your question. And also, you would like to know, Rachel would like to know if we share the slides via email. We will probably not share them via email, but we will make them available on our homepage. As for participation, being employed by a national government, Munashe, is not an exclusion criterion. You are welcome to apply. As we said, just put some effort and thought in your application, but you are eligible. While Ricardo is talking later, I will be sharing the link for the application for the Vaccine Science Academy in the chat. You can also find it on the IAS homepage. Okay, that's a good question, Guillermo. So we have a lot of discussions around academies and French-speaking countries. And to be very honest, we have not fully concluded how we should go about this. We were considering conducting academies in French. This has also applications on the faculty we invite, firstly. Secondly, most of the scientific publications are in English. So we do encourage a certain English proficiency because we do think it will benefit your development in general. But yes, we do consider conducting academies in French. It's a logistical issue that we need to solve or think about. Yeah. Will the HIV Vaccine Advocacy Academy in May overlap with the IAS conference in June? Susan, in May, we have the Science Academy. It will be for HIV vaccine scientists, and no, it will not overlap because it's a 3-day workshop, including travel days. It doesn't take more than a week. So no, it is not overlapping with the conference.
And the conference will take place in July, not in June. What will take place in June is the Advocacy for Cure Academy. So there will be no overlap across any of those 3 events.
And as for the program of the Vaccine Academy, we will share it later on with the selected participants because currently we are working together with the faculty to make it really enticing. So that is not finalized yet. So I'll go on and see, Bernardine, you had a question. You have been raising your hand. Please speak up. So I have enabled your microphone for all those who have raised their hands. Dorothy.
Yes, please.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, this is Dorothy Ndokora from Kigali, Rwanda. I was asking, will that program take place too in my country or it's based only in your country?
The HIV Vaccine Science Academy will take place in Rwanda. We have not yet fully confirmed it will be Kigali, but we have confirmed it will be Rwanda.
Oh, okay. All right, I wanted to know that.
So all our academy, like all the EARN Academies take place in Africa. None of them takes place in Switzerland or in Europe. All of them are designed for you, so we come to you.
And same for the Cure Academies, while we welcome also applications from people from Latin America or Asia Pacific or other, we have a list of countries where people are eligible for, and we refer to it as countries with limited resources for HIV cure research. And but the academy will always take place in Africa. We welcome you from outside Africa, but they will always be in Africa.
Okay. Then for us to participate, what are the requirements?
You can find the requirements in the call for application, or if you want, you can also go to the IAS homepage, and there is an option to see how to get involved with us under fellowships. You will find all our capacity building activities. It will show you if applications are open or not. And in this call for application, you will also see the eligibility criteria. So if you're specifically talking about the HIV Vaccine Science Academy, which is taking place in May in Rwanda, we are looking for early to mid-career African scientists who should have a basic understanding of HIV vaccine science. And ideally, they should have some experience in the HIV vaccine field or in the HIV prevention field, meaning being part of a clinical trial, this kind of thing. So you need to have a certain biological knowledge about the fact, and you need to be resident of an African country.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You? Okay, next question.
Nestor, would you want to? Yeah.
Yes. How are you?
Fine,
Yes,
and you?
I am Nesta Nakabulimvo from Burundi. I work in the ICAP, Columbia University. I'm married in the HIV program. I really appreciate this uh, webinar because what you are presenting about opportunity in order to the opportunity which will be taking in Kigali as someone who work in the HIV program. I'm really interested in that program. I need to know and the eligibility is Dorothée asked, but I respond that I can find it in your website. I think so. If it is not, I think that I can check in your website in order to see the eligibility, and I can apply in order to participate if I'm selected in order to participate this webinar, this session which will be taken in Kigali. And also, I would like to ask you if there is other opportunity which will be held during this year, which we can present abstract like in the HIV program. If they are also there, I think that I will check it in order to participate because I really appreciate and like the HIV program, as I said before. Thank you.
So for abstracts, you're probably talking more about the conferences, and that is a bit separate from the topic of this webinar and from the academies we are conducting. For the academies, you will simply have to follow the process of online application, whereas if you want to submit an abstract, you will need to do that either for AIDS 2024, or if you are very deep into HIV prevention research, then also the HIV R4P conference would be a good place to submit your abstract.
Thank you for this information.
Laura Melly, are you there? Or yeah. If not, I see. If not, I see Ngwa, you are Ngwa Pelage. I know you are there. You can also, since you have a mute, you can speak.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. My name is Ngwa Pelage. I'm from Cameroon, specifically in Betua in the East region. So concerning the eligibility that was explained earlier, you mentioned healthcare providers or researchers in their mid-career, but I want to find out if, for example, I work with an NGO, which is Georgetown University, and I'm a nurse acting as a clinical mentor in the HIV care unit. So I'm not really involved in the research, but I'm involved in the direct care of people living with HIV in my locality concerning their treatment and their follow-up in general. And in getting involved with this workshop concerning their vaccine is really vital, concerning the numerous questions we receive every day about the length of treatment, if it's ever going to end, and the way forward, and all that, especially for parents that who have children on treatment. But when you mention eligibility, I really do not find the healthcare providers who are in direct contact with these patients involved in eligibility criteria. So for someone like me, where can I fit in?
So probably I think your best place would be the Advocacy Academy, because this is the place where we do present the latest findings. but we present it in a different language. So it will be presented in a way that allows you to pass on the message to your community, to the people you work with. And you will also find a lot of fellow colleagues there who might be in the same field or not, but you can exchange with them their experiences, how they communicate with their community, how they drive information sharing there. So you would perfectly fit into the Advocacy Academy.
Yes, I second that, and at least also speaking for the Cure Advocacy Academy, every year we have had people who are actually our healthcare providers, whether it be them physicians or nurses who are not necessarily involved in the cure or in research or cure research specifically, but who are still would still benefit greatly from having that information. So I agree with what Ashley said. I think the Advocacy Academy for vaccine or cure would be a good fit for your situation.
Okay, thank you very much. And will the link be shared on your website too?
To be very honest, I have some technical issues that I can't reach my browser at the moment. But we will share it also if you all agree, but I really need your approval. Obviously, because you registered, we have your email address. So I'm happy to share the original call for application with all the explanation and all the eligibility criteria with the email you shared. So it's going to be tough to ask 88 people for a yes. Hence, I'm asking, is someone not approving an email from me? You have like 5 seconds. Because if you're all happy, that's probably the easiest way.
So I think that means it's a yes.
So let me quickly ask Mikong's question, answer Mikong's question. So Central Africa, Cameroon, it is also covered. We cover Western, Central, Eastern, and Southern Africa. That's the eligibility criteria. So yes, if you want to apply, if you think that is the academy for you, please go ahead. As for scholarships, you can always apply to the conference scholarships if that is what you have in mind. So at this moment, I'm not quite clear if you mean the academy or the conference, because the academy, once you are selected, that's a full scholarship. Like your travel, your accommodation, everything is fully covered.
Sorry. This is Dorothy again from Kigali, Rwanda. So are you going to share with us the link where to apply through our emails, or what should we do, like to get the link so that we can apply?
Yes, I will share it through the emails you registered with.
Okay, again, my question is, like me, I did finance and banking, so I've not been to the health field. But normally, I'm a blood donor. And obviously, you cannot donate blood when you are HIV positive. So is that okay for me to apply, or so okay?
That is all not an issue.
Okay.
The only thing you need to consider is which of the academies is suitable for you. Is it really the Science Academy, or is it more the Advocacy Academy? And you need to be resident of an African country. This is actually as far as we go in our eligibility criteria. Everything else, that's not a problem.
All right. Thank you. We'll be waiting for the email then. Thank you.
Happily. Do we have more questions? Does anyone want to speak? Becky, I'm just unmuting you.
Yes.
Go
Okay,
ahead.
thank you. Yes, this is Becky.
Okay,
Hey.
go ahead, Becky.
Okay, thank you so much. This is Becky. I'm from DRC Congo, but actually I'm I'm in USA as a Fulbright scholar, but I'm in this meeting as a director of an NGO based in Congo. The NGO is dealing with taking care of a person living with HIV as victim and survivors. So I was like asking, because as a director, can I send or apply for the organization can apply for someone who is in charge with taking care of a person living with HIV? Thank you.
So if I understand you correctly, you want to apply on this person's behalf.
Yes, because since myself, I'm not in health medical care career, but I can send one of our nurse, for example.
In that case, I would suggest you will receive the link for applications. I would suggest you forward this to the person, because what we need to see in this application is the motivation and how that person fits into the topic of HIV vaccine science, for example, or advocacy. You're more than welcome. Once this link goes out, you can share it widely in your network to whoever you think is suitable to attend.
All right. Okay, thank you. I get you.
Ayoki, do you have your question as well? I think you were trying to talk earlier.
Okay, thank you. Ayok Maureen from Cameroon, working on the community management of HIV, specifically the OVC population. I wish to find out, a lady earlier mentioned that the Vaccine Academy will involve a lot of language that has to do with vaccine related, and the biology of vaccines. I wish to find out if someone who is experienced in vaccine research, but not HIV vaccine. For example, I have been working on clinical trials for other vaccines, and I currently work on an HIV program as the research learning manager. So I'm actually responsible for the research agenda of the project. So, but I have not been involved in an HIV vaccine research, to be precise. But I understand vaccine science, and I have been a clinical monitor for a clinical project on vaccines and for another disease. Could I be prioritized for the Vaccine Academy?
I mean, I would encourage you to apply because you have the biological knowledge and you are involved with HIV in general. Of course, for whoever applies, I cannot guarantee an outcome, but I would encourage you to apply.
Okay, thank you very much. Then I had another question that I just put in the chat, in the question box. Whether someone not in vaccines but in other aspects of HIV management can apply, although you're not working in HIV vaccines research, but another field of HIV like community HIV management.
So if you're more into community work for HIV management, then the Advocacy Academy would be your place.
Okay, thank you very much. I get my two questions have been answered. Thank you.
Thank you. Joseph.
Yes, thank you very much for the opportunity, and I really appreciate all the updates that were shared. I'm Joseph Fokam, a virologist from Yaoundé, Cameroon, at the Chantal Biya International Reference Center. I'm also a fellow of the Research for Cure Academies, and I have been chanced in 2019 to participate also in the vaccine program. I think that was in Kigali. So I really want to really join my voice to appreciate this initiative for Africa, because IAS has been very instrumental in empowering African young scientists in the field of cure research. IAS also has been very instrumental in supporting community awareness on HIV cure research. So we have been able with other NGOs like BADO to do some community talks, community communication about cure research. And we believe gradually the community is really getting that message. Then now, maybe the major area where we have challenges in our context is after we have gone through the academy, is really how to set up that kind of cutting edge research in our context where we really have limited cutting edge technology devices. So, and that's where collaboration really comes into play to see how we can really build up that. So I just have two comments or maybe two questions. The first one is really to see how we can leverage on the Research for Cure academic network to really peer fellows together, one from the Western world, one from Sub-Saharan Africa, such that we can really maximize our individuals' opportunity. In Africa, we know we really have a high burden of HIV. In the Western world, we know still HIV is there, but also there is a high level of technology to see how we can really capitalize on this and move on also with the cure research agenda in Africa. Then my last one is about this refresher for the fellows, just to know how is it being communicated, because some of us, we didn't really have the information, and what does that take for an existing fellow to be eligible for a refresher course? Thank you. Over.
Yeah, thank you, John. So I'll start with your second question. So for the refresher, we have only done it for the Advocacy for Cure Academy. That happens every 2. That's the strategy that we have come together that we have come to the decision to together with our partner AVAC, which I've mentioned earlier. That said, for the Research Academy, there are not current plans to have refresher, but it has been discussed, so it's not to say that they're not going to happen in the future. At the same time, I want to say that people who have participated previously to a previous edition of the Research Academy for Cure are not excluded from applying again, especially after a number of years. So to say that you're welcome, once the call for applications for the Academy goes out, if you feel like you want to reapply again, you're welcome to. Now, answering the first question, that's a bit of a trickier one. So we have tried, we've tried to during the academy to build the networks among the different participants. So one way is to apply for the scholarship program, which of course it's competitive, so it doesn't mean it's not open for everyone, but it's to continue our ideal situation would be that the fellows from the academies continue to stay connected even afterwards. I know, of course, like it gets busy, but for example, like the cohort that took place in the Research Academy in 2023, they've actually come together to write an opinion piece, which will be published in academic journals shortly. So that finding ways to stay connected with your program even beyond, with your cohort even beyond the academy, that's something that is open fellow-led, and where we've seen it happen before, and there is definitely potential for it to be expanded. So, and as you said, there is also follow-up surveys, and we also welcome feedback from our fellows at any time. So if you feel like there are ways that you see that could be a possibility, you're always welcome to send a message to the Cure mailbox, and we will be happy to look into that. But it's great to see you here at the webinar, Joseph.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Do we have more questions? I just wanted to point out, I put 2 links in the chat. The second one is specifically for the HIV Vaccine Academy. So this link shows you eligibility, content, and you will be guided to the application. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, it's okay with me. I'll tap into the link and see how I can go through it and apply.
Great.
And I think we're almost reaching the hour. We would like to thank all of you. I know it's a Friday afternoon everywhere, so we really appreciate you taking the time to being here with us. I think there's maybe one last question that has just come in. So
we have two questions.
Yeah.
Tanya, about vaccines in Haiti. Now, well, we don't have an HIV vaccine yet, and I certainly cannot talk about the availability in Haiti. I'm just the wrong person for that, but we don't have an HIV vaccine yet. So our purpose again is to drive research. And then the integration process through scholarships only takes, no. Scholarships are open for everyone. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Great. And thank you all for joining us on this Friday afternoon. We hope that we've provided you with some excitement about the potential to become involved with HIV Vaccine and Cure Academies. As Leslie shared the call for the Vaccine Science Academy, I've also attended one last year with her and it was fantastic, so I highly recommend that you apply. And as I also mentioned at the beginning, the Advocacy for Cure Academy application will open in the next couple of weeks. So please stay tuned for that announcement as well. If in the meantime you've had more questions come to mind, please send us an email at the mailbox that were indicated in the email where you got the link to register. And we will be putting this recording on the web page or on the IS Plus channel, which we also encourage you to look at. With that, thank you. Oh, sorry.
I have one more addition. So we will, every time you have an academy, we will send out a call for application by email. If you want to receive that email, please sign up for the IAS newsletter, right? You go to the IAS homepage, you scroll down to the bottom, there will be a sign IAS newsletter. You click whatever you're interested. That way you do not rely on us sending a link, but you will get it automatically the moment it's out.
Yes.
And that's it from me. With that.
And on that note, thank you all once again. Have a lovely rest of your Friday, weekend, and we look forward to seeing your applications. Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you so much. I appreciate.
Goodbye. Thank you so much.